Burger King.
That's true. Yeah, I'm scared to order from Burger King. Yeah, not good. All right. I think that's fine. I think my audio is fine. Your audio is fine. So
Yeah,
we're
I'll
live.
just have a quick check.
But yeah, an hour and a half for a KFC, so I can get to me, and so
Messed
irritating.
up, man.
So I literally just like stuffed it all down me, and I'm just brimming with chicken now. And when you're like uncomfortably full because you just don't let it like settle at all, and you just go into something. It's annoying.
You're brimming with what?
Do you not have a soundbite for it? The chicken.
Did you enjoy your chicken?
Yeah, that's
Did you enjoy
hilarious.
your chicken?
Yeah, the podcast after
You
that.
just have a
sorted, I had
conversation with
chicken.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
But yeah, I mean, it was good, but just, I mean, I'm
Was it
gonna
cold and
gonna
like
get a
soggy?
refund. The chips were, yeah, like the chips were like actually like the bag was almost breaking at the bottom. That's how long they were sitting in there and sweating. Like,
Wow.
it could have like
Sweating.
burst through the bag. Yeah, but the chicken was fine, to be fair. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna get a refund on that. Partial or full, because I'm sorry, but that KFC's 5 minutes from me. I literally could have picked that up and been home in 15 minutes. There's no reason that should take an hour and a half. I paid almost £3 for that delivery as well. Like, what is that service? They're jacking on £3 onto my total price, as well as just the Uber Eats shit, and it's just an hour. I mean, come on, it's insane.
I wonder what they're doing. Like, I wonder who's at fault. Like, is it the KFC took ages? Because I don't think that's the case. I feel like
No.
the driver got your food and did a couple of errands, and then.
Well, no, they did that thing,
that
where it's like they had a driver, and then it was just like, "Oops, we're finding you another one," like, and then it took them about 25 minutes to find me another driver. So obviously, Uber just don't have enough drivers. But then you should say that in your app, like you should say, "We don't have enough couriers. You can't order," because sometimes they do that, either where they're too busy or they don't have enough. Like you have to have enough to meet demand, even if it's a quiet Thursday, like. Anyway, rant over.
Man, that's like, nah, that's just rant not over. Rant still going. Like, it just soggy, like late and soggy chips are the saddest fucking thing in the world. Like, I can handle soggy cold chicken, but chips, man, or fries for the American audience.
It's rough.
What I mean, it's weird how they go from an S tier food to like a dog shit F- tier,
and it's like
nuts.
KFC chips as well. They're like the worst kind of fast food chips. They're like they're like D tier, even if they come hot and crispy. Like, let alone soggy and fucking cold. Like, they're actual like fucking like Z tier. They're trash, man.
Z tier.
But yeah,
Z tier soggy chips, man, rough.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, you feeling better? Yeah. Okay, good.
I'm feeling better.
So get that off your chest. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Cool. Let's jingle in and we'll get going then.
Yeah. Sorry for the audience. Deck's currently white. He's always white, but he's just a white screen.
Hey.
I just need to get the notes up, and for some reason that blocks your face cam, so just bear with me 2 secs. 137, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. 137, yeah.
Ski boop doo doo ski doo doo. Come on. We're professionals.
Absolutely. That's right. Everybody understands. Everybody's heard your tale.
Yeah. All right.
Your chicken tail.
That is not loading. Get open. Oh, there we go. Right. Yeah, let's jingle. Let's jingle in. There you go.
Okay. Welcome, brave traveler. You've stumbled upon the Quick Cuisine Podcast, the 137th episode. I quite like this format for an intro, actually. I might do this from now on. Welcome, traveler.
Welcome. Just like beckoning them over. See what I have. Check out my wares. Yeah.
If you have the coin, you may listen.
Well, we don't charge our viewers. Just throwing that out there.
But you could click on the ads. That would work as well.
Just go nuts on those ads. Open a new tab as well. Just as many tabs as your PC can handle.
Yeah, that wouldn't work either because YouTube doesn't want to monetize us either. So, that's not happening. Anyway, hi. This is you've arrived at a gaming podcast with a slight Xbox slant. I hope you're all doing well. We've got a few bits and bobs of interest and stuff to talk about this week. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm buzzing. I'm ready. Tim, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, good, man. Good. I am. I'm feeling a little. Yeah, I'm feeling kind of chicken lethargic right now. A little bit, but maybe I'll get onto that. Is that coffee? You got. Pardon me. I'm so sorry.
No way.
Okay. I was about to say. I thought you were just getting buzzed for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so but no, I'm good. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. It was we had a bit of a gap week last week because well, we just had stuff to do, Lives happen, lives get in the way.
Live stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's good to be back. And I've played a couple of games this week, so I can do some updates. Yeah. Do some updates on there. But should we just jump straight into that? Yeah? Okay.
Please.
So I started Sea of Stars this week. I thought I would make that sort of my next venture a little bit for like my next game after I beat Persona. And yeah, I probably sunk about an hour and a half, 2 hours into it. I'd say it's good. It's cute. I love the art style. It flows really well. And what I like about it is it's turn-based combat, which I love. You know I love that. But it's similar to like that. What was that 33 game? Something 33 that we watched.
The new one.
Yeah, and I was kind of buzzing for it.
Expedition 33.
That's it. Yeah, when they have like the turn-based, but they also have like a real time built into it a little bit. This kind of has that too. So like a lot of the abilities have like real-time action input, and so for example when an enemy's attacking you, you always have the option that if you know how the enemy attacks, like like the wind up and stuff like that, you have an option to like block it to reduce the damage you take if you time it well enough. So most of the time you'll fuck it up, but if you're alert and you're fine, you have a chance to reduce your damage all the time. Same for standard attacks. If you time it well, you can increase your damage. Magic abilities have like interactivity, like you can throw like this magic like boomerang and it like hits the enemy and comes back to you, and then you can hit it back, and then as long as you're timing it and it gets faster and faster, you could literally chain it for like 12 goes, or you could only hit it once, for example. So it's quite cool in that sense. It makes it a bit less of like a brain dead, you just click A to attack and then it's the enemy's turn. It makes it a bit more interactive, which I appreciate. And it's just super cute art style, as I'm sure anyone aware anyone who's aware of it knows. It looks beautiful, lovely pixel art, and yeah, having a good time with it.
Cool. I'm quite impressed that you've gone into another turn-based game. Like I feel like any day now you're going to be like queuing up your like real life events.
I do.
to be actioned on the timeline.
I choose when to take a bite of my sandwich, and then I have to wait until my next turn rolls around to take another bite. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, well, compared to the sandwich gets to go as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then when it comes around, I'm like,
and then the sandwich.
Yeah, next turn, do I take a drink or do I take another bite of the sandwich? I don't know. I only got one action.
Sandwich you splash. Yeah.
Yeah, so well, I don't know. I feel like I'm in my era of just like single player sort of RPGs, whether like they're JRPGs or just like like pixel art games or something like that. I feel like I'm just kind of in that vibe right now. Like I think I narrowed it down. What were my other choices? I can't remember what my other choices were, which I was thinking about before I chose Sea of Stars. But I don't know. It was along the same sort of vein. I quite like having like a competitive shooter. Like we've got Valorant on the go, and then I quite like having something I can just play, like chilled out on my sofa, like upstairs on like my
Mm-hmm.
Series S. And these sort of games just tick that box for me. So yeah,
Feel that.
yeah, no, super into it. And then I also
Oh, Path of the
watched.
Goddess.
Yes, I was literally about to go on to that. Yeah, I was going to say I
I'm so
watched
sorry. You
the
go.
Capcom thing. I watched some of it. You know, the Capcom Next or whatever it's called. Um,
Right.
yeah, it only showed like a few things. I think they went into the show saying we're only showing Path of the Goddess, the Dead Rising remasters, and something else. So there was no like, oh, Monton Sawars is going to be there or anything. It was just guaranteed to be those. But
Yeah.
they showed Path of the Goddess first, and then they dropped the demo live there. So, and it's an unlimited demo. You can play as much as you want, replay value and stuff like that. You know, I'm still playing it. I'm like 5 missions in, and you know, it hasn't capped me off or said this is the end. So, um,
Mm.
that's cool. And yeah, that game is really cool. Like I'm actually really vibing with that game, like super hard. It's
Cool. Cool. Cool.
yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, yeah, it's called something something Path of the Goddess. I don't know. It's Japanese before it. I haven't memorized that part yet.
What? You don't know fluent Japanese yet, even from all of your gaming? That's nuts.
Not yet. No.
Not
Um
yet.
so yeah, so it's called Path of the Goddess, and it is a really weird kind of game. It's like a action strategy kind of game. So it's like the sort of game where you have your goal is to essentially purify these villages from like this demon blight and stuff like that. There's a day and night cycle. So you enter the village in the day, um, you know, you purge it of like things, you free villagers, and then those villages you can give jobs, you know, like woodcutter, archer, you know, all that sort of stuff, and then they help fight for you, and they can just do stuff in the village basically. And then your goal is to essentially purify that village by getting to the end gate, which is like the last big gate to purify the village from all the demons and stuff. And it's a day and night cycle, so you have a limited set of time every single day to do your shit and run around, and then before night rolls around, and then you got a wave based thing where you have to survive. And yeah, you place your villages, your little pawns wherever you want them, and then you fight as well. There's combos and stuff. You got to keep your priestess alive at the back, and it's just this cool blend of like bit of hack and slash, bit of action, bit of strategy, and I just really dig the vibes. Like the music's really, the music's great. The enemy design's really good as well. Like they're gross, like the demons, like they're actually disgusting. And it's yeah, it's just a vibe, man. Like I love it when games just so a bit out there succeed, right? And I feel like Capcom is definitely in their era where they can be quite experimental, and it still looks like it's actually going to do really well. And I just like seeing that, you know. It's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen a couple of like previews and stuff that have been fairly positive on it, which is great because it does look like a bit of a wild card, and we've seen it a couple of times now. I think we saw it last year at Xbox's show, and then
But when it's Games Pass,
this year
before I
at
forget.
Summer Game Fest. I can't remember where we saw it again this year. But yeah, of course, it's Game Pass as well, which is it's going to be our first news item when we come around to it. But it's the Game Pass drop for this half of the month, which is just it's just so packed. It's well, that's my opinion anyway. It looks like a really great lineup, and that's not including the stuff we already know about Flintlock, and then Path of the Goddess. And then obviously we know there's the first party stuff coming as well. There's Flight Sim, there's Towerborn, there's Indiana Jones, there's Call of Duty. The list is really nice and long. So I'm glad to hear that that's being received well, because it sounds like it's good for, if it is a success, it's great for Xbox to be able to capitalize on Capcom's momentum that they have at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it was a really smart move from Xbox to extend their hand out and grab this one for Games Pass. And I think it was smart of Capcom to obviously just go with it as well, because I don't think it's the sort of game that's really going to reach a massive audience of people actually buying it. Like, I don't think whether they would have charged 70 quid for it or not, I don't know. but I just don't think you're going to get a lot of people pre-ordering a game like this for like 50 quid, because it's just, one, it's a new IP, no one's ever heard of it, you know, it's Japanese to a Western audience a lot, and it's just quite experimental, just in it's just its formula. So it's going to do so, the numbers are going to be so much higher with it just being on Games Pass, because people would just be like, oh, what's this? It's in the what's new section and it's looks pretty good, and people say it's quite good. I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think it's really nice to see like Capcom in general after, you know, like having so much success as they have done in the last 5-6 years. Like they've now gotten to the stage where they're just like experimenting a little bit, or they're not, you know, they're being a bit more liberal with where they're putting their funds, from what I can tell, you
Yeah,
know.
definitely.
Like, and the newest example of that I can see is the Dead Rising remaster. I don't know if you've seen that.
I did a little bit, yeah. Looks a bit wonky. I thought Frank West looked really weird, like in
He does look kind of weird. The
HD.
whole
He looks like he's been
yeah,
stung by a load of bees. I don't
it's
like him.
it's a wonky looking game though, and I don't think that's unintentional.
They're fun, man.
But I think it's like I'm not sure if I have the patience to go back. I've said this before on the show. I think I'm kind of over Dead Rising, but nonetheless, the fact that they're going back and like they're calling it a remaster firstly, which is like, it looks more like a remake, to be honest. But like, I don't think. I think they know a Dead Rising like remaster is an easy cash in the way a Resident Evil 4 remake is.
Yeah.
I think they're doing that because they wanted to maybe test the waters for like, you know, the franchise, see how it's doing.
100%.
And then obviously, yeah, then there's Path of the Goddess, and there's only one thing left really, Tim, for Capcom to do, and that's to bring back Lost Planet.
Yeah. Yo,
Xbox
that'd be
exclusive,
sick.
Lost Planet,
Yeah.
Lost Planet remake, rebooted, whatever. Bang.
That would be cool, man. I love those games. I'll say it. They were great. I dig snowy vibes and snowy planets. I always have. I love that sort of like. That's what drew me to it. Like initially was the whole concept of just like the thermal to stay alive and stuff like that. It was just cool,
Yeah.
man. I really liked it. It's not coming back though, but I really liked it.
No. They were really cool, like conceptually. I don't really remember much about them other than that I think you could grapple onto like some of the bigger monsters, and it was like third-person shooter. I remember one of the only things I do remember is that like there was an exploit where you could fire your gun into the wall. I don't know if it was an exploit. You fired your gun into the wall and then you like picked up the ammo, and that would keep you warm.
Oh,
I don't know why I remember that. I just remember thinking,
I don't remember.
this is kind of weird. Yeah, you'd like fire into a wall and then it would like maybe drop the ammo, or maybe it was just like the casing or something, and you'd like collect it and it would keep you warm, you know.
Okay.
So there was
what a weird thing to remember.
Every now and then you just have to shoot the wall for a bit to get your heat back. It was quite funny. I don't know if it was an exploit or if it was intentional, but I don't remember much about them. I think I only played and I never owned one. I think I only played it like at your house for a bit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to give. I don't know if I'm gonna try the Path of the Goddess demo, but I'm definitely gonna give it a go when it comes out to Game Pass, if it's looking like it's reviewing quite well, because it looks really cool. It looks really interesting, and I love a tower defense type of game. I know it's like not strictly a tower defense, but it kind of does have that energy.
Kind of what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, with some action elements to it.
Yeah.
It is cool. It looks weird as fuck, and I like that.
Yeah. No, I recommend it.
Cool. On my end, I finally finished Star Wars Survivor, and I'm giving it the Quick Resume Podcast certified 7.9. That's good. It's good. It's nearly great.
7.9. You little
7.9.
slut. What's stopping it from reaching that 8 echelon, huh?
Well, I'll tell you all about it. Stay tuned. Well, you can hear more from me after this sponsor.
Grab something. Sponsored by. Did you enjoy your chicken? Space Raiders, mate.
Sponsored by Space Raiders. That was so loud. I can't believe you still buy Space Raiders. What is the matter with you?
I can spend my money on what I want.
I am an adult. I bet they're over £1 now per pack, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're. Oh no, not for. We buy like the multi bags, so they're like £1.50 for like 8 or something. But they're like really small bags, you know. They're like there's like 5 alien heads in there, max.
I never understood the Space Raider craze. I never got it.
Really, they were lovely.
Like, yeah, I remember I even went through a phase of like trying to make myself like them. Like I'd buy them and I'd be like, this is so great. Yeah, this is so great. And they did it every time I tuned into it. It's like, this is cardboard. This is absolutely cardboard with a bit of pepper.
No, they're like super flavoursome, man. Like if you had them, legit, it's like eating a You love your roast beef Monster Munch. This is beef flavour, and they literally taste identical, dude. Try it.
I'm not falling for it again. I'm not falling for it again.
Try it. I want you to do it this week. I want you to go out and buy a packet of beef ones specifically, because I know you're not a big pickled onion boy.
Space Raiders.
Do it,
man. I don't even know. Are they international or is that just a UK thing? I'm quite fascinated by this.
They're universal. Raiders. They're not international.
Oh my god, he's done it.
They didn't come from this planet, dude. They didn't originate from here.
They just fell from the sky, man.
Yeah,
they're in the crop circles. Yeah, they're a British brand of corn and wheat snack made by KP Snacks. Oh, it's the fucking nut
peanut
company,
guys. Yeah,
yeah,
makes sense because I nut every time I eat one.
Guess how
I stand by what I
clip that. Guess how expensive they were when they first came out in 1987. For one pack.
Oh, 1987. I don't fucking know. I don't know, like 8p a bag.
10p.
Oh, it's close.
Really?
I remember when we were younger, they were like 25p a bag, I think.
Yeah, that's nuts, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And that was obviously when we were growing up and in school and stuff. So not that long.
That's how expensive my mum and dad's house was when they bought it.
25p. Yeah. That's true.
Bit of pocket money. Where were we? Yeah, Star Wars Survivor. Yes, it's, if you don't know already, it's on Game Pass Ultimate if you've got Game Pass Ultimate, because it's in the EA Vault. So, you know, you get everything in there. And it's good. You know, I had a good time. Tim's giving me shit for giving it a 7.9 and not an 8, but I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. And to me, like, a game that is 8 is great. I mean, it rhymes, so it must be true. Everybody knows that that's the case.
Yeah.
It is great. 9 is mine. 10 is Zen. It's so good. I just like transcend
nice
this realm.
I'm into it.
I did write a little Twitter thread about it, but like, you know, the too long didn't read version is it was about just under 40 hours my playtime. I found like the first half and maybe even the first 3 quarters kind of boring in terms of story, to be honest. It was fine. It was all a bit it was just a bit nebulous. It was a bit MacGuffin-y. Chase this thing around, do this thing. Look at there's memories, there's flashbacks. What, MacGuffin?
Nebulous and MacGuffin. Who the fuck are you trying to impress? You God. Look at the grooves on this guy's brain. I could see him through your hat.
I don't think. So firstly, I've been having interviews all this week, so I've had to be really on my game. So like, if I'm using words that you don't get, I'm sorry, all right? Secondly, you should know what a MacGuffin is.
Never.
You watch like, yeah, you know, it's in like a film or a game. It's like a thing, an object, or a device, which is like necessary for the plot, but it's like not really integral to the plot. It's like, oh, there's an artifact. We've got to find the artifact.
I see what you mean.
It's like that drives the whole thing, but the artifact itself is like not really that important. It's a map. Got to find the map, and it's like the whole journey of the film is about getting the map, and then the map's like not important. Twist, it's the friends we made along the way, you know. So it's
okay. I know what you mean now.
So that's happening. I feel like that happened in the first one as well, but whatever, you know. And then in the last 10 hours, it gets really like actually quite good. There's like a bit of a twist, and it gets really quite good. I felt like the combat kind of took a step down from Jedi Fallen Order, which is really surprising because I thought it was like I thought it was great overall in the first one. It was still a bit like off here and there, but my biggest problem really was that fighting the aliens, anything that wasn't bipedal, anything with like 4 legs, their reads were really hard. You know, like their moves, you couldn't tell them, they weren't well telegraphed. They would just like wiggle and then they would jump, and it'd be like, well, what the fuck was that? And that seemed to have gotten worse in this game, not just because there's more of them, but also like the encounters they give you like seem to have like a mix of enemies, which at times were just like frustrating. Like there'd be 2 guys with blasters at the back, and then you'd have 2 fucking animals that would attack you, and then there'd be like, you know, boys with, and then there'd be boys with staffs, and it'd be like, oh my god. And everything, I didn't have this problem in the first game, but everything was like staggers you, it like stagger locks you. So like even a blaster hitting you in the, you know, the pelvis, you get knocked out your combo, which I found really frustrating. And again, like I didn't have this problem in the first game because I know it's the same system where like most enemies have stamina bars. You break the stamina bar and then you've got a bit of time to get some damage in before the stamina comes back. But it really felt like I had to turn the difficulty down. I was going for the one above normal.
Hard.
So not the highest, but the one up. Yeah, not very hard, but hard. And about a third into the game, I was like, fuck this. This is just getting frustrating at times. Where I had to like, you'd spend like, in a 30-second fight, you'd spend 10 of those seconds just breaking the stamina, 10 or 15 seconds just breaking stamina, and then you'd get maybe 3 seconds to get some damage in, and now the stamina's back up and you're just blocking again. It just felt a bit unsatisfying, and I just find it quite frustrating, especially, like I said, when you throw in some of the other enemies into that encounter as well, with like blasters and animals, and it's just like, oh man, it just... When it worked well, it felt good, but there were just so many times where I felt like they just like, kind of overdid it a bit. And that was made worse by the fact that the skill trees really started to piss me off as well. They added these 2 new stances in the game that were really cool in concept. You could have a blaster and a lightsaber, and that was cool. And the other one was the cross saber, you know, the one that Kylo Ren uses in the new films.
Oh yeah.
It's really slow and big and heavy. They're both kind of shit. They feel really wonky. I ended up sticking with the blaster one because I thought it was cool, but I mostly just used the dual blade, you know, the Darth Maul one. But like I found that like a lot of the skill trees were like, there was a lot of stuff like scattered on them that was unrelated to the lower stuff. So to get to the thing I wanted to do to like complement the way I was playing, I had to like go through stuff I didn't want to go to, and I had to spend a point to respec every time. So like I would have to earn a level and then spend that level to respec. It was just I've just found that so frustrating. So yeah, I mean, other than that, you know, the voice work was great, the art direction was pretty good, and the music was pretty good. I was expecting some cooler set pieces, to be honest. I thought some of them were good, but I thought they were better in the first. Yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to add. Yeah, I thought it was good. I had a good time, and it was nearly great. It was, you know, it's still Respawn doing a third-person action adventure game with Star Wars. Like, it's still good. There's only so bad that can get. I think it just took a couple of steps back in a way I wasn't expecting from the first one, which was a shame, because I think this like franchise they've got going with Cal Kestis and everything is really cool. I like it a lot. But I hope they can tighten up everything for the third game. Yeah, and it was buggy. It was still really buggy. The game's been out for over a year now.
Yeah,
which is really disappointing.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, that, isn't it? How they haven't patched that out yet. You know, just like general. Like, I mean, was it buggy in the sense of just it, like enemies glitching or you glitching, or was it like, how was performance? Was performance all right? Generally,
yeah, performance was fine, to be fair. Performance wasn't the problem. It was just like loads of like visual bugs was mostly the problem.
Okay.
Like people T-posing, like during cutscenes, there's all this artifacting going on the edges of the screen, like pixelation. Like every cutscene that would be there. I had like sometimes enemies just disappeared. Like mid-fight, that happened a few times.
It's the Force, mate.
Other times I would like jump into a wall-to-wall run and I just phase through it.
Oh God! Jesus Christ, man! I don't think it'd be that bad.
Obviously, you know, I mean, obviously, I mean, not a massive deal, but enough for me to raise an eyebrow, and then but then that happens over 100 times over the course of a couple of hours play sessions, and you start to be like, huh,
Yeah, that's pretty
why
bad.
isn't this fixed yet?
Yeah, I didn't realize it'd be
Especially,
that common as well.
yeah, but it's a like I said, it's a mix of like visual stuff and sometimes silly stuff like phasing through the environment.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was good. I had a good time. I'm glad I played it. I still like this franchise. I am still excited for the third one. I was just hoping for a little bit more. And obviously, like my score there is lower than the like average. So like clearly most people aren't that critical of it.
Hmm.
But I do sometimes think it's quite good to play games later for that reason. You don't get caught up in the honeymoon and you can kind of have be a bit more objective about it.
Hmm.
Because I think it's sitting on like 86 maybe.
Yeah,
Star Wars
it's
Jedi
like mid to
Survivor.
high 80s. Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
even got a point.
84.
I think it even got a point higher than the first one, didn't it? Or is it lower? Can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know actually. That's a good question.
I think it was like a point or two higher. I think it was at 83 for Fallen Order. Or...
Mm. It's so hard to search for because they've got such weird names. Star Wars, Jedi, Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Uh, 82. 82 the first one got. So it did get a little bit higher than the first.
Mm, yeah. Okay, that's interesting because this is on
Mm.
my list to play as well. So, um,
I would still recommend it. Like, it's still a good time.
yeah, yeah. I mean, me and Teddy will probably play it together. I mean, 40 hours sounds long as well. That sounds like you
Uh,
feel like that dragged on a bit? You feel like it could have been trimmed down a bit? Don't
well,
feel
like I
like the
said, I
first
didn't
one
feel
was
like
40 hours.
I think I mean I did some extra stuff for sure. It probably the main story is probably 30. Let me check. How long to beat? Love that website.
Yeah, I use it all the time.
Star Wars. Yeah, I bet it's about 30, like on a normal playthrough. Um, no, main story 2021.
Oh,
So even
Jesus.
less apparently.
20 hours of phasing through walls really adds up.
Yeah. As I say, I did a handful of side stuff. There's like a little mini game in the game that I hated at first and then ended up actually quite liking, even though it is kind of dumb.
Mm.
I don't know how much of that was idle time, but anyway, it's yeah, I'd still recommend it for sure. I think most people will probably enjoy it. Only other
Nice.
thing for me to mention is that I started playing Braid. That fucking 15-year-old game.
The fuck is
I think it's
that?
that old, isn't it? You don't know what
Braid?
Braid is?
I mean, I probably
Braid, yeah.
do, but not off the top of my head, especially if it's 15 years old.
Yeah, it came out. Yep, came out 2008 on the 360. I think it was.
Oh, this guy always creeped me out, dude. He looks like a fucking. Don't like him. It looks like they shrunk
uh,
down. Who's the guy from Twilight? Edward something. Edward Cullen.
Edward Scissorhands.
It looks like they
Edward
shrunk
Cullen.
him down and pixelated him and made him a character.
Maybe they did. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Who
don't like
knows,
him.
man?
But yeah.
Okay. Well, it was an Xbox Live Arcade game. It came out in 2008, and obviously for all these years, I've heard about how amazing it is, and they released an anniversary edition, I think last year. Maybe it was even earlier this year. I can't remember. So I was like, you know what? I'll get it. It was like £10 or something. I like these sort of games. I'm into this. And it's only short. I think it's like 5 or 6 hours playtime, for a normal playtime. Although I don't feel like it's going to be that short because it's mostly a puzzle game. It's like a side scroller. It's mostly a puzzle game, where the main twist is that you rewind time. You move and you can rewind time, and there's loads of puzzles based on that. And it's like amazing. I'm not surprised this game was as revered or has become as much of a cult classic as it has done. There are some times where I think these puzzles are a bit too hard. I don't think I'm stupid, but this maybe is a little bit. I needed like a little bit more signposting. But overall, this is like an easy 9 out of 10. This has like been such a joy to play through.
Oh wow.
It's just so well designed for the most part, and it's so like how Super Meat Boy is like a 2D platformer, and there's nothing special about it other than the fact that it's like executed extremely well. It feels a bit like that. It's like 15 years later or even longer, it doesn't really feel like an immensely novel thing. It's just executed really, really well. So yeah, I definitely recommend it if anybody's into sort of like puzzle games, smaller experiences. Yeah, it's been really good so far.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Okay. So with that all said and done, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about today. No, there wasn't. So what I would suggest we do, Tim, is I suggest we start with the Game Pass drop for this month, which is number 4 down there on the on the notes page. Feels like a good place to start. Always a good place to start. W.
Yeah. I mean, there's one W here that I can see.
Well, if you're, in case you don't know, Chia is a certified banger. The Case of the Golden Idol is a certified banger.
Never heard of these.
Don't know about the rest. But I know people are excited about Nintendo All-Star Brawl Tour. And how could you not like Cricket 24, dude? Like, come on.
We did have some good times on the Ashes games back in the day.
Yeah.
We did.
Time to main it. Time to spin that bad boy up and just bat, because bowling always fucking sucks in these games.
It really does. It really does. It does not do it justice. Bowling's fun, I swear. But yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, obviously there's nothing big here. The reason I think this is just a lot of deck games. That's all. They're just a lot of like shorter, like high quality indie games. Chia was, I think, a PlayStation game for a bit, and now it's getting its port. Neon White, obviously, I think for us is probably the headliner there, which was just on Switch for a while. Finally getting its port and coming to Xbox Day One. The Case of the Golden Idol I had to look into because I saw quite a lot of excitement about that on Twitter. Only just coming to Xbox again from Steam, straight into Game Pass. It's like a point and click mystery game, but it's like reviewed really, 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 really well.
Okay.
So this is the sort of stuff like I subscribe to Game Pass for. Like, it's nice to have the AAAs, but I like the stuff that I probably wouldn't buy having like being on Game Pass. So this really works for me. But I'm very excited about Neon White. Yeah, did you have anything you wanted to add for any of that?
Yeah, no, I think Neon White's basically the only one there that, well, one I knew of, and two I am most excited to play. So I mean, I'll give Cheer another look, I guess, and see what it is. I've never heard of it, but yeah, Neon White's definitely the one for me there. But I mean, it's just quite a big month in Games Pass in general, because that's not even including the like we said, the Flintlock and Path of the Goddess also dropping in this month as well as brand new games as well. Oh yeah, so it's just a pretty big month there. Yeah,
it is. It really, really is. Cool. All right then. Well, from there, let's just go to the top of the news then. And you know, the biggest thing that's happened this week in the Xbox community really has been the announcement that Xbox Cloud Gaming is being made available on Amazon Fire Sticks. This is really, really fascinating. But I think, you know, as being the good podcasters that we are, the most righteous place to start this topic would be to talk about the incels that are really, you know, foaming at the mouth because, Tim, the tweet that Xbox put out to announce this said, "No console, no problem," and then a little flaming emoji, and then the announcement. Of course, this drove people into, you know, fits of horror. You know, no console. I can't believe this.
See.
You know, the console's dying. What are you doing, Xbox? You know, mental. This is it. The Amazon Fire Stick is going to be the thing that kills the Xbox console. This is the one.
Wait, so people were even flipping out even after it was announced?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Oh,
they flipped out after it was announced.
I
Yeah.
thought you said they did like a pre, like they did like a tweet with just that, and then like an hour passed or whatever, and then they did the reveal or something. Oh, okay. So
No,
that was
got the
all
tweet
just
on the third
the.
page. You can
Oh,
see
I
it. Yeah.
see. Yeah, I see. Um, like literally, what? Like, I mean, when I saw this, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really bat an eye at it. I was like, that's kind of cool. That's basically was my reaction to it.
Yeah, well,
Like,
it's because we follow it. We follow it, so we know what the strategy is for Xbox. They've got their app on TVs, on Samsung, on some Samsung TVs
yeah,
now. So
yeah,
for us, it's like, cool. The next thing, more in more people's hands. But for some people, they're still not on board with this idea. They haven't got it into their head that Xbox are trying to get their platform
everywhere.
on the cloud platform as many places as they can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird though because I remember a way back when there was there was some rumors that Xbox were going to do their own kind of streaming stick kind of thing, weren't
Mm.
they? So did they just maybe that was in the works and then they just bin that off and were like, actually, it just kind of makes sense to partner up with an established company for this sort of thing instead of trying to launch our own product.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. And it's funny you mentioned it because last week, the week we took off, there was some news about that. There was I think a leak of the like the patents for it got
mm,
leaked, and yeah, but it was cancelled, but it looked pretty similar. It was like a tiny Series S, like a really small box.
mm.
But yeah, they just decided to can for whatever reason.
It makes sense in my opinion. Like you might as well go with
Yeah,
something that's established, has a user base, and is tied to the Amazon name, right? I mean, Amazon's ridiculously big, so it's a
yeah.
win-win.
Definitely, and I suppose that getting beyond that sort of stuff, it gets me thinking about what the kind of the players here because as interesting as that is, I think the interest is more in their commitment to getting their cloud service in places. Like I find that part oh okay, you guys are still doing this, um, but in terms of the actual success they're going to have here, I'm shrugging my shoulders because
Mm,
really, I mean, maybe I'm totally ignorant to it, but really, who's using a Fire Stick? Most people have smart TVs, right?
mm-hmm.
In which case, and the numbers I have on this is that in January 2022, it was reported that 150 million Fire Sticks had been sold lifetime, up to that point. Um, so in homes, there are 150 million Fire Sticks. So a good number, right? That's a lot.
Mm,
Um, how many of them? First thing being, how many of them are still being used? Is it the ones that were bought in 2012 or 13?
yeah.
Before smart TVs became mainstream. Um, Second thing, this Xbox Cloud Gaming is
I was so confused there for a second.
mad. Whoa! For audio listeners, balloons just went off on my screen, and yeah, it's still happening.
I
It's still
genuinely was
happening.
so confused there. I thought like you just let loose. I thought that was like a bit or something. You just let loose a load of balloons.
I've had balloons down here this whole time,
Yeah.
and I just
Uh,
stepped on them.
God.
Um, and the second thing is that the Xbox Cloud Gaming is only going to be available on the newest models of the Fire Stick, which came out last year, which is the Fire TV Stick 4K Max and the Fire TV Stick 4K. So that makes me think, who's buying that? Who's buying the 2023 versions of the Fire Stick? I just don't know who that's for.
Yeah, I completely
That's my
agree.
TED talk.
Which is kind of why I just kind of didn't really bat an eye at this as well. I was like, oh, it's kind of neat that they can do something like this on something so small, and that's great and whatever. But as far as it making an impact in the industry and like it just taking cloud gaming to the next level or whatever, I didn't really even bat an eye at it, to be brutally honest. I just don't yeah, I just don't really know who's using this. I mean, maybe they're just kind of testing the waters for something and just seeing what like the outreach would be to a lot of people that don't own an Xbox and how they would adopt it. You know, because obviously
Mhm.
it's quite niche right now. It's either you have an Xbox or a PC, or you have a specific range of Samsung TVs, and that's the only other way that you can get access to Games Pass right now. So maybe they're kind of just
Mhm.
testing the waters just to see how it's adopted in a more of a mainstream format outside of that. But I just don't think the metrics will even be that good here because you're not going to like the numbers that come out of this. Like
No.
I just don't think anything really will come out of that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me, I mean, it probably is different teams, but like it seems to me like the best target here is to just go after smart TVs. And maybe it is a case of like not all smart TVs are like powerful enough to support cloud gaming or something, because
It
why
doesn't
is it
really
just with
need.
Samsung at the moment?
I don't know. It's probably just a brand thing, but like it doesn't really need power because the entire point is it's not using a single bit of
Yeah.
hardware. Really, it needs it needs like the right sort of network stability and stuff like that. I don't know what kind of,
Mhm.
but then I don't know how Fire Sticks work in terms of their Wi-Fi adapters or drivers or anything like that. Like, are they generally better than what's built into a smart TV? Maybe, I don't really know, but that's
Mhm.
kind of what you're looking at. I don't know. It's weird.
Or maybe maybe they do have like a couple of years partnership with Samsung where they're not bringing it to other TVs, for a
I
while.
think that's probably it.
In which case it's like, yeah, let's put on a Fire Stick. So if anybody's dying to play our games on cloud on their TV without a console, they can buy a Fire Stick.
Mm,
Which you know, mm, yeah. I mean, it's good. Like I think like in terms of them wanting to have cloud be taken seriously, I do think they need to make moves like this. But I'm sure they know that things like this aren't really going to move the needle.
no.
But because it's like even like the most part, like even GeoForce now, which is broadly considered the best streaming service there is, while
Hmm.
it's doing well, it's hardly exploding. But I guess they are going for different maybe audiences with GeoForce now, mostly being um like a PC thing. Like it's not like it's available on TVs.
Mm,
Xbox definitely has a chance to cultivate that audience if they can get it right. But it feels like their effort should be on like LG and maybe Sony TVs if they could get it there, and the rest rather than on a Fire Stick. I'm
yeah.
just like, who's still using Fire Sticks? Who is that? Who's doing that? Um, and is that audience really like the people I see mostly using Fire Sticks are like boomers whose kids have set it up for them on their 13-year-old TVs that aren't smart TVs, because
Yes.
they don't get it. Um, and I don't think they're playing Xbox cloud gaming, but who knows? Maybe they are.
I don't know, man. I think they're clicking on Eds in Halo Infinite, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
that's it. Hmm. But of course, the tech is cool. Like being able to just Bluetooth your controller to the TV, to the Fire Stick, and just have that work. Like that's it's great. But I just think that there's bigger ponds that they need to be targeting here. But like I said, maybe it's different teams or it's just a holdover.
Yeah, I think it's an experiment. I don't think they're here looking, like you said, to get that needle moving or to see anything positive out of this. I just think they'll look to get some positivity out of it, but not financially. I think it's literally just like
Mhm.
a fuck it, right? Like you said, you got to make moves like this a little bit, and you got to get your foot in the door somehow, right? And I think that's
Yeah,
just kind of what this is. Um, but yeah.
because I do think like if there was like genuinely, if I do think there was more steam and more like noise about Xbox cloud gaming, I could see like that causing like a decent number of sales, because if you have a TV that doesn't have Xbox cloud gaming on and something came out, like say like Indiana Jones or something, um and you don't have an Xbox, you don't have a TV that runs it, you could just buy one of these Fire Sticks for $50. It says here, so I imagine it's about 50 quid as well, and you could play that, and it would probably work perfectly, like sufficiently. If you're not like a dork like we are, who wants to play like in max settings and everything, you just want to play the fucking game. Maybe you have a leftover controller, maybe a friend's controller, maybe you buy a secondhand one for £20. Like that's all you need. In fact, I think you can use all sorts of controllers on Xbox Cloud Gaming. I think you can use like DualSense as well, and DualShock 4s. So the barrier to entry is really low. Like I think if people knew about that, I think that could work. But it's just like making sure the right people would know at the right time. And I don't know if we're there yet.
Exactly. Yeah. But I just think it's a matter of time, and I think that's what they're doing here. I just think they're just,
Yeah.
you got to be in the game long enough and in the scene long enough to just eventually be recognized, right? You can't just drop into like this cloud gaming like whenever you want and just skyrocket whatever. They're there first. They're going to establish a foundation and then see where it goes from there, right? So
yeah, definitely. I can't remember. I've heard someone else say this somewhere. Maybe it's a common sense thing. I can't remember. I know I've heard this somewhere else. But like Xbox wanting to be obviously the Netflix of gaming. We've heard that, yada yada yada. But they want to be the gaming button on your TV remote. Like they want to be there. You're like, because there's a point where these services kind of reach critical mass, isn't there? I think like, and eventually they just become the default because it's easier for the hardware manufacturers to just be like 95% of people use this. Let's just make it like a direct access to it. So that's how you get your Netflix button on it. That's how you get Google being the default browser. Things like that. So, yeah, the more they can get it out there and get it known, the better. So it can't hurt for sure. It can't hurt.
Yep.
In our next story, Forza Horizon 4, Tim, is being delisted from the Xbox storefront. Bit of a weird one, this. So it's gonna go away, and you're not gonna be able to buy it. Game's gonna be capiche.
What? Why?
Yeah. All of the previous ones have eventually been delisted as well because they used licensed music. And my understanding
that means
is
the same for Games Pass, with it being a first party.
Yep, you won't be able to buy it. Yep, if you own it, you'll get to keep it, but you won't be able to buy it. Yeah, I can't remember where I read this or I heard this, but like it's really weird because apparently it's mostly because music labels are really weird about licensing their shit to games, because it's like licensed music in movies doesn't ever make this happen. Like you don't hear about movies not being in theaters anymore, or not being able to buy it on DVD, or not being able to watch it on Netflix or whatever, because
it has this pop song.
Like, yeah, because the Queen licensing has expired, or whatever else the kids are listening to these days, Charlie XCX or something. Queen.
Oh god.
Travis Scott.
Travis Scott.
You don't hear about that happening, or with TV shows or whatever. Yet it happens with games, and it happens all the time. So apparently they're just really weird about it, and they want it to be constantly renewed, which obviously costs like publishers. And they're just like, no, we're not going to pay you in perpetuity to do this. I don't understand though why they don't just have like a license-free mode ready to go for when this happens. There must be some weird terms or contracting made that prevents that from happening. But yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of bizarre, especially when you think, I don't know, like how old's Forza Horizon 4 now? Like 2-3 years, maybe 3 years?
2-3 years?
3?
Do you have a clock in your brain?
All right.
Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, how many are there?
There's 5.
Oh, there's 5 now. All right, I don't follow it. Like, Jesus, man.
It's 6 years old. 6 years old.
Do you have a clock in that brain? Oh, wind your neck in. I'm not a Forza fan. Um,
Well, okay.
okay. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I thought it was the latest entry, so that's why I was thinking a little bit more butthurt. Now I'm a little
No.
bit less butthurt. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's obviously not the end of the world, but you know, it's a weird game preservation issue, I suppose, especially from the company who's very much like vocally like we're so into game preservation, like we fucking love it, boys. It's our
Yeah.
favorite thing.
Yeah. It's a little bit weird. And especially when I don't know when physical discs and physical games do genuinely just get phased out and are barely around anymore or whatever, because that's probably a reality we live in quite soon. What's going to happen with games like this? Well, eventually they just disappear forever. There's
Yeah,
just always a timer on it because there's
yeah.
no physical copies anymore. Forza Horizon 10 is digital only, and 5 years later, it's just gonna get Thanos snapped away, and you'll never ever be able to experience that again. It's a bit weird.
Yeah. Well, if you own it, you get to keep it, like even
Yeah.
digitally. Like digitally is fine. It was still, but it's just being removed from sale.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
but nonetheless, like it's still, it's still a problem. And I do wonder, like, I bet for the next one, like Forza Horizon 6, that they do something to stop this happening. Um, but maybe they can't, but it wouldn't surprise me because they made like a preservation team, I think just earlier this year, and I bet they'll put some work in to try and stop that from happening. Hell, why even use real music? Just make AI music. Like that's not anyone's work, is
Mm.
it? That's just like a weird compound, a fatberg of work, isn't it?
Nice.
you,
They
you, ever, you ever heard about fatbergs?
I've heard about Fatberg. Yeah, what was that from?
It's from our sewers. It's a real problem, Tim.
Yeah,
Fatbergs.
yeah, I have heard it be a thing. Yeah,
A fatberg is a rock-like mass of waste matter
yeah.
in a sewer system formed by the combination of flushed non-biodegradable solids, such as wet wipes, with fat, oil, and grease. FOG. That's the acronym for that. Fat, oil, and grease. FOG.
Is that what fog is?
Yeah, that's what
When
it
you
is.
get
You
the little
breathe that
mist
shit in.
outside, it's just yeah,
Yep.
it's the steam from the Fatbergs rising from the
Yeah,
sewers.
it's fat, oil, and grease. Yep. You're breathing that shit in. It's a fatberg, dude.
Oh
I
god.
love that. It's such a good word. A fatberg. What are you talking about? Call it something else.
Yeah.
Fatberg.
But what they should have done is they should have made the team over at Tango Gameworks to just make music exclusively for Forza Horizons.
Oh my god, that's actually so funny. That's actually so funny. I'm going to be sick.
That's
I'm
what they
going to
should have done.
fucking. I'm going to throw up.
They could have just made music exclusively for Forza Horizon.
Yeah, what if actually, like, what if straight up Xbox is like, we're acquiring the Red Hot Chili Peppers. we're acquiring them. We're just acquiring fans.
I don't really think they're really a band you'd want to acquire these days. They're old as fuck. But yeah, you could acquire their
That's true.
music, their old music.
Yeah, but just get them to sign digital rights to AI, their likeness upon death. Done. There you go. Infinite Red Hot Chili Peppers music.
Done. Forza Horizon
Done,
12 is going to be a banger with AI driven Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's amazing.
Hey, Tim, do you know what happened in April 2021?
2021 April. I don't know. No. What happened?
A giant fatberg weighing about weighing about 300 tons was found to be clogging a sewer in Birmingham.
300 tons.
How heavy is a blue whale? Is that like
that's fucking crazy, dude. Isn't a car like
a blue whale is 150 tons. It was two blue whales of fog. Yo, what the fuck is going on?
And you probably contributed to that fog.
I was like at least 6 tons. Like, just me.
Oh god.
Man. September 2017, dude, a
Dang,
250
stop.
meter, 250 meter long fatberg. 250 meters. How long is a football pitch?
God, dude, this is weird. People didn't come here for fatberg facts.
102, dude. It's 2.5 football pitches long. A fatberg.
It's
crazy.
A lot of fat.
It's crazy, man. It's a lot of fat. Yeah.
Humans, man. What can I say?
Yeah. Disgusting. It's one of the few things. Every now and again, I have an epiphany, and I'm like, sewers, man. Most underrated S tier creation.
Oh
of humanity.
yeah, they're like insane. Like
amazing.
Imagine
like the fact
if
that
we
we
didn't
shit.
have sewers.
Yeah, we shit and piss all the time, multiple times a day. If you're me, like hundreds. And yet it just goes out of my sight, and I don't have to think about it or smell it or anything. Yeah. Somebody else deals with that, and I think that's just fantastic, honestly.
It's a lot of weight on your shoulders, isn't it? You just hit that flush button, and you're like, "You, glad I have to deal with that bad boy." Good luck, Greg. Scooping that one up from the fatberg.
Yeah, that was a big one. Sorry, boys. I'm like shouting down the toilet. Sorry, boys. Just...
Oh god.
Anyway, fatberg, look after your sewage system. It would be the first thing that I would get like horrendously frightened of if like there was an apocalypse. I don't feel like apocalypse movies take that into account. How like fucked the sewage systems would get. Your toilets would like back up. Yeah, other people's poo would be coming out your toilet, bro. It's messed up.
I mean, in apocalypse, I think you've got bigger things to worry about.
I don't know, but what if I'm safe? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if I'm reinforced? I've done all this work. I've been a conspiracy theorist for like a decade. I'm a world, and now my.
Well, then you should have thought about your own system.
Your own sewage system.
Yeah, exactly. That's your own.
I should
fault.
have made like an
you fucked yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I have my own fatbergs to worry about.
Yeah. Oh, the world's ending. Got to deal with my own fucking fatbergs now. Damn it.
Oh.
Yeah, good thing I bought this snow shovel.
Yeah. I don't want to be just another number, dude. It's like April 2060. The largest fatberg was discovered in one man's house. Weighing in at 6,000 tons.
Just a picture of you in front of
it. Like a fish, like a fisher with a foot. Like...
Yeah. Oh god.
Who never gets old? Who? Man. Okay. How do we bring this back? Honestly, like, how do we keep going after that? That level of segue, that level of tangent.
I don't know. I guess we could. I can see you highlighting over the. Yeah, I love this point. Good fucking luck. Poor guy. Yeah. I mean, I guess we can move on to that quickly.
Yeah. Speaking of fatbergs, Halo 7 supposedly has gotten a new lead designer. This is coming hot off the LinkedIn, stalkers
God rest his
that exist out there.
Did it only have one applicant? That poor man. No one wanted it.
Yeah, like poor guy. And to be fair, the man, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Dan Gnady? Is that a silent G? I don't know. Dan Gnady? Has come on as the lead designer for what we're calling it Halo 7, but whatever the next Halo project is. Previously worked on, basically has been a Bungie for like Destiny's entire life cycle. So, not that it's any surprise, but they're ramping up for whatever their thing is next, what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, like we said, like good fucking luck, like man, like I don't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know what to say about whatever they're going to do with this next game. I just think it's so unwinnable at this point unless they create an 11 out of 10 game.
Which
Basically.
it never will be because it's Halo, and everyone has their different ideas on what Halo is. So
yeah,
but I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they did something quite fan servicey and actually went away from the live service. But then I don't know. I feel like Halo Infinite probably made a fuck ton of money and probably did pretty good. I mean, I don't know, like development costs and stuff like that, but I imagine so. I imagine the live service, especially in its later years, definitely ramped up and probably did pretty well for them. So, will they stick to it? Will they not? I don't know.
well, yeah, it's a whole thing, isn't it? Because apparently, the game was probably quite expensive to make, and it clearly went through a bit of turmoil in its development cycle. But like, it did perform really well in its opening months, and then we know the player base kind of dropped off. It was never doing terribly. Now it's doing like not great. I don't even know if it's in the top 50 now, which is like, until earlier this year, it had always been in like the top 30. It'd always been okay despite its reception on Xbox anyway. Obviously, Steam's a different story. So it probably hasn't been terrible in terms of returns. But I can't imagine Xbox are like super happy with it. Otherwise, I don't think they'd be moving on, to be honest. I think the game's called Halo Infinite, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not called Halo 3 years. Like Halo Finite,
Yeah, yeah. Especially with the model they had, and we were actually saying they actually started to get some speed and actually get some cadence, and it was looking really good. And then for them suddenly to just start sunsetting it, it did feel like they were like, "This ain't working. Like, let's cut it off and let's move on to the next Halo project." Yeah, exactly. If it was
Yeah.
a good steady cash flow and they were happy with it, they wouldn't have done that. Yeah.
And it's tricky because like Halo Infinite was received pretty well, like
I liked
critically.
Halo
Like
Infinite.
I think it's still 86 on OpenCritic. Like it got a lot of like really good scores. The multiplayer suite was arguably a little bit trimmer than it should have been. Maybe a few more features would have been nice, but the sandbox was good. We all know it played bloody well. Like there's no debate about that. The campaign was reviewed really well as well. I loved the Halo Infinite campaign. Obviously it didn't show well at its first showing, but overall, when it came together for launch day, it reviewed really well. It didn't get into the 90s, but it got into the high 80s, which was still quite a high bar for a Halo game, I think, and especially a game that's been through the troubled development that Infinite was. I reckon they could probably do that again with whatever Halo 7 is, get like a critically well-received game. But the problem is that no matter what they put out, it's going to have so much infighting, like you said, Tim, of what a Halo fan wants a Halo game to be, that it's just like, good fucking luck, Dan.
Bring the Arbiter back. That'll get people back.
Do you think?
Yeah, people love the Arbiter.
But dude, the Arbiter was in Halo 5 and he was in Halo Season 2. Isn't that enough for you?
No. I like my big old lanky boy.
Yeah, he's a nice lanky boy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, the more I think about Halo Infinite, the more I'm like really pissed that they couldn't. I don't even know, like, by the time they'd sorted their shit out, why they weren't like, yes, go 120 miles an hour, pump it all out. Because there was like a 6-month period where that was happening. And there was like excitement kind of building up for it again. There were loads of maps and modes coming out. The battle passes were looking good. And then they were like, yep, we're done now. We're not going to release any new weapons. Like all of this stuff that's in the files that's kind of been leaked that was there, the double barrel with a fucking little gravity hammer on the bottom. More that I can't remember either, but like that in particular just looked like such a fun addition to the sandbox. Like they could have nailed that, and I like genuinely really loved that gameplay. Like I was in. I loved how that game looked as well. Like I loved playing it. It was hard, but it was fun. Like, yeah, I just think they really got the core systems really, really good. I would have happily kept playing Halo Infinite, but they just for so I don't know what happened with that service once they got the ball rolling. I just think it's really disappointing that I don't get to keep playing that game, and I'm probably not going to go back to it because I thought that was really quite a fantastic shooter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a shame, and I don't know if Halo 7 will replicate it. Honestly, like I think Infinite really did nail a lot for me. It'll be what it'll be. Maybe it'll do really, really well. But I don't think it will land quite the same that the Infinite hit for me in terms of like just feeling really as good as it did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think Infinite in terms of the way it felt in terms of like its movement, gunplay, and the way the sandbox interacted. Although they could have had more in the sandbox, but what they had, I would go as far as to say it probably was the best feeling Halo game. To be honest,
wow, you're dead. You're dead.
You basically just said the same thing.
Nah, I didn't say those words. So did I? Plausible deniability.
It was really good. It just lacked that that momentum which it started to gain, and it just dropped off. And the game definitely could have been a lot more than what it was, and it already was pretty damn good. So overall, I'm not butthurt by the Halo Infinite experience. I think overall, I think that was a good entry in the franchise. Like I don't see Halo Infinite as a failure, or I don't see it as one of the worst Halos. I think Halo 4 and 5 were worse than Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And I think obviously I'm getting nervous, dude. I'll talk about Halo. I think obviously, for me, I still think Reach was kind of peak. I think Reach was excellent. And obviously 3 and stuff like that. But those games do feel clunky. And if you were to go back, they do feel clunky. They were quite outdated, and they are now. Like Halo Infinite, and just the way it felt, it was that perfect blend of old school and new school. I feel like they did kind of nail that. So, hats off to 343. I do think they did a good job with that. Just a shame they couldn't bring it on a little bit longer. But why play a game and invest time and money into it when they're moving on to their next project already? So
I'm with you. I think this is like the second half of the conversation really is like what is Halo 7, like what is it going to be, because we've had a lot of different talks about what that means. Like I've seen some people say, oh, we just needed the whole thing rebooted, and I'm like, Infinite was a reboot. Like Infinite was a spiritual reboot, and like god damn it, like I will stand by it. Like Halo Infinite is my favorite Halo campaign. I know. Now we're both dead. It just is. I just thought it was just my favorite, especially in terms of the storytelling. And I know
Reach is an insane campaign.
In terms of quality, I'd probably put them about the same, but I'm mostly talking about the mainline Halos.
You're dead again.
I'm dead again.
Reach is a mainline Halo.
I thought Reach was excellent as well. I also think 2 and 3's story is excellent too. But for me, like Reach and Infinite are the ones that sit at like S tier for me.
5's big.
I just thought it was really good. I just thought the script was really good. I thought it was really well told. I loved the cinematography. I thought the gameplay was great. Encounter design was great. I thought it was good. So they're not rebooting the game again. Like, what the fuck? Like, no way. Like, they're doing a continuation of whatever Infinite was and the ending. Because it was a bit of a cliffhanger there. And they had the game concluded with like Cortana and the weapon, and they added a new character there at the end. With the pilot, with who you're with for the game. So there's like a perfectly decent springboard to like continue the spiritual reboot. But then it gets me thinking, obviously multiplayer is one of the big questions.
Forge at launch.
Forge at launch, that should be non-negotiable.
It's a big miss on Halo Infinite's part.
Yeah, it was, no doubt. And it's definitely one of those things that I look back on and I think, yeah, I was wrong about that. Like, I was like, it'll be okay because I didn't anticipate that they had fucking nothing ready to go when the live service launched.
You need to harbor a
But that wasn't the
community.
case.
So much of Halo is community, and you got to bring like people make their own fun. They make their own game modes, they make their own maps and stuff like that. You gotta establish that right from the beginning. By the time they introduced Forge, it was just a bit late. Like a lot of people left and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and it did revitalize it to an extent. But like, yeah, they need to get that in for launch so people can just. I mean, some people are literally they're just forgers. Like, all they do is forge,
Yeah.
and then that makes fun for so much of the other player base to just download and play those with their friends and whatever. Yeah,
Definitely. Especially when the Forge this time round was so sophisticated, it's
so
probably
good.
seen the least use out of any of the Halo games. You know, and that's so sad to think about. And then, you know, even we played some stuff on it that was amazing. We played that tower defense mode, didn't we? And it was like fucking bonkers. Like you could be little tower defense boys. You could put down bots with different guns to do that. It was so cool. And I think if the game had kept its momentum and then they had released Forge 6 months later, I think that would have been fine. But it didn't keep its momentum because they had nothing ready to go. And I just think that probably leadership should have seen that in advance. And I mean, I guess they'd already delayed it a year, so you know, impossible call either way. But you know, that to me was the biggest problem. If the game had retained a lot of its player base and then Forge had come out later, probably would have been okay. But that wasn't the case. So when I think about whatever Halo 7 is, dude, like what the fuck do they do? You know, let's say you're in the driver's seat, you're the director. Are you saying, yep, we're doing classic gameplay like Halo Infinite again? Or is that part of the reason that there was a big player base fall off? Or do they need to go like chase a trend? Halo extraction shooter? Or do they just need to go for something entirely new? Because like this is the problem. Like I don't like Halo is in a bit of an identity crisis because of what it is and its heritage.
I don't think Halo's in an identity crisis. I feel like you can do a lot of what Infinite did. But you just got to launch it as a full package. Don't make it bare bones. Like just put more meat on there, more maps, more game modes. Yeah, Forge at launch. You know, all these kind of things. You know, more weapons in the sandbox right from the get go. You know, just establish a good base. Because Infinite, there was nothing wrong with it in the way it launched, apart from it just being bare bones. I don't think you got many complaints about how the game felt and how the game played.
No.
And I think it actually kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of appeasing both fan bases. So I don't think you need to change that much when it comes to that style of gameplay. I just think you just need more. You just need more of a package. That's it. Like, you just got to work. You just got to work on more bang for your buck. And yeah, just make sure you keep the fun there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I like my thoughts are either like they just go for something completely new and just try and reinvent what Halo multiplayer means. Because we've heard the reports that they're going to be like remaking Combat Evolved, and I wonder if they'll just have the remade multiplayer package in there as well to satisfy the classic bunch. What that means, I don't know. In terms of doing something completely new, that's up for 343 to decide. But also, like you say, actually, the number of players in the first month was really good. Which it's hard to determine if that's because people were really interested in playing Halo Infinite, or if it's because they like Halo, they know Halo. It's the big new Halo. Let's try Halo. So it's hard to know what that is, but I do think the thing that Halo still does uniquely is be a good physics sandbox. And I think if they just double down on that, that would and like ditch the competitive angle. Like esports, fuck it, whatever. I don't think they need to chase that. I know the thing is that Halo is Xbox's esport. They don't really have another one. So maybe they can allow that to take the back seat. But I think Halo does excel as like a casual physics based shooter. And there was so many like glimpses of brilliance in Halo Infinite and how that worked as well with the grappling hook, the repulsor. In the later editions they had the quantum translocator. and they had something else as well that I'm struggling to remember. But like a lot of that worked was like so cool when it came together. Again, in that opening month, the clips you'd see on Twitter and across the internet of people doing this and grappling onto that, and using a plasma grenade to blast the rocket launcher to you, but then someone snatches it out of the air with a grapple or repulses someone off the edge. Blah blah blah. It was great. And I think it could be even greater if they doubled into that. So those would be my spitball ideas. But as we said from the top, still, good luck, Dan.
Yeah.
Good luck, Dan.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, I salute you.
Yeah. Agreed. I'll be there. I'll be there at launch. But good luck.
Yeah.
You're gonna need
You've taken on a Sisyphean task. Is that how I pronounced it? Sisyphean?
I have no idea.
Sisyphus. Sisyphean.
Syphilis.
Syphilis task. Pushing that boulder up the hill constantly. That's going to be you. Okay. All right then. Last news story for today. Crash Bandicoot trilogy could be heading to Xbox Game Pass in August. I believe this is coming from Ecstasis, mentioned on the show a few times, Spanish leaker, who gets some stuff right and some stuff wrong. He's got a decent track record. He's got a decent. It's okay.
Okay.
But it does check out. It does check out this. It's probably about time that we start seeing that. Diablo came earlier this year, which was a fairly big deal. The first game from the Activision Blizzard King, portfolio coming to Game Pass. It probably makes sense that more are coming now. They had to iron out all of the legal proceedings with the acquisition and everything. It's probably time now. And that would be a good one to drop in. That game sold really well. I just heard about this the other day. Give it a quick Google.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot has always been a right anomaly to me because I'm not gonna lie, I never clicked with it growing up, and
I think he looks weird. He's a weird looking guy.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm pretty in the dark with this in terms of its popularity, in terms of why people love it so much. But I know it's quite big. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. So as of today, when did it come out? It came out in 2017. So it's fairly old by now.
Mm-hmm.
Insane trilogy. Is that what I've said? Is that what I've said? In Crash Bandicoot trilogy. Yeah, that's Insane trilogy. It's sold as of June 2024, so last month. It sold 20 million.
Jesus.
Yeah, a while, but like a lot of games reach their cap well beneath that. The fact that it's still going is quite impressive.
It's a lot. That's a lot higher than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's a big deal for a lot of people. Yeah. No doubt.
And if that is the case, it sort of begs the question. I think I've put it here. The report from Jez Corden over at Windows Central there is that, to quote, I expect every month from now we'll start to see bits and pieces of the ABK catalog hitting the service. So, I don't think we're going to get the Bethesda kind of drop that we did back in the day. I think they're going to look at the kind of, these IP and strategically drip feed them to us, maybe over a couple of years, which is fine because there's so many of them, obviously. Maybe some of the Call of Duties late at the end of the year, maybe Pro Skater, the remakes they did with that.
Might drop all the Black Ops games before Black Ops comes out.
Yep. That
seems
that'd be very smart.
Yeah.
That would be very smart. So good, it's good that we're finally here. This starting to happen, and it keeps the Game Pass fed. Keeps me fed.
Yeah, so you can keep producing those fatbergs.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Games Pass, it's a Gamesburg. That's what it is.
It's a Gamesburg, yeah, that's so true.
Feels just like I wanna produce the world's ever first Gamesburg. That's what I want.
Yeah, he's just like slouched back in his chair looking at the executives. And they're looking at him like, do you want to explain? And he's like,
just like airplays like a news article of a fatberg to the TV in the meeting room and just dead silence. You see this? I want this, but for games.
Yeah, it's just a massive fatberg with loads of JPEGs of games on it.
Yeah. And like the months behind it, yeah. It's like Crash next.
Have you ever heard of a fatberg?
Yeah.
No? Right, let me show you in 25 PowerPoint presentation.
No?
25
Get
minutes.
out. I just kicks anyone
Yeah.
out who hasn't heard of a fat
Yeah.
bird. Get out of my fucking
Yeah.
meeting room.
Yeah. For those of you that are left, how interested are you in a Gamesberg? I'm proposing scrap Game Pass, Gamesberg.
It was first Gamesburg. It sounds like it could be like a show, like a yearly show. Like
Like the Gamesberg.
instead of Gamescom, it's Gamesburg.
I think it kind of sounds like a summer camp, but for like gaming. Well, I'm going to Gamesberg this year. Or like Eurogamer, you know what I mean? I'm just sure. Are you guys?
Yeah.
Will I see you at Gamesberg?
Yeah, we hitting up Gamesburg. God, you're so emotable in the way you talk that you just trigger all your you're so quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great, that cafe. I love that.
Oh, it's good, wasn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, it will be interesting to see. Yeah, like you said, there's just kind of like a lot, right, that you can just drip feed in quite smart. To just drum up hype and just drum up just intrigue, and like whether or not you just use it to see whether or not it's worth bringing back like a franchise, or you test the waters with these sort of things, right? And then you're like, oh, the reception here was actually pretty good, you got a lot of downloads, people, then there's a lot of potential behind there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the other things they could get in there, because they obviously have like quite a lot of like kid friendly games as well, so I reckon we'll start to see them come over, like Skylanders and
that Activision
Transformers,
was it? Skylanders.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was Toys for Bob. Is that right? No, Beanox? No,
I don't know.
I'm getting all mixed up.
Toys for Bob, wasn't that Spyro?
Yeah, they did Spyro. They also did do Crash Bandicoot, but obviously they've spun off now, independent. But they've got their first game signed with Xbox, but they're no longer under ABK. I'm trying to think what else. Sekiro.
Yeah, that's a nice kid-friendly game.
Yeah, that's not what I meant.
Spyro, Sekiro. Teach a kid how to fucking parry.
of the same ilk. Yeah, you need to know how to parry.
Listen here, Fox. You can get your dinner once you fucking parry this boss. Once you beat this boss. Until then, not happening.
Yeah. I'm setting loose this bee. I've shaken him up. He's very angry. When he comes near you, just ding him away.
Yeah,
parry that bee.
Yeah. And when he's staggered, go in for the kill.
Yeah. Here's a knife.
God.
Have the bee. Okay, man, we really went off the rails a bit this episode.
We did. We had quite a few tangents. See, no thanks to me. Oh, fine. I won't be your host next week.
Oh, your fault.
Let's see you go off on your fucking.
Why did you bring up fatbergs? Freaking weirdo, man.
You were like ready to go as well. How long ago was it that you were looking at fatbergs? Was it quite recent? I felt like it was quite fresh in your brain.
Yeah, I've been talking about them quite a lot, I think, recently.
I feel like if we weren't doing like an episode, I felt like if we were just met to play games, you would have talked about fatbergs tonight.
Maybe. And I find a way to get it in the conversation. Yeah. Hey man, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. Hey man, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. Have you ever thought about toilets and like sewage?
Yeah. Right. Not really, man.
Not really.
Yeah. Well, how was your toilet trip?
I've got so.
Do you contribute to a fatberg?
We all contribute to fatbergs. That's the problem. Really,
Yeah.
just need to be careful. We need to be so careful with the fats, oils, and grease that we're putting down into our sewage.
It's like a PSA. It's like an announcement, is it?
Yeah. But I started getting them last Christmas. They were like, "Oh, don't fucking." Yeah, no. I started getting adverts like PSAs on the radio. I remember hearing that like on. They were like, "Don't put your fucking turkey fat down your drain. You'll block them up. And they're like, scrape that shit into the bin, you fucking idiots. Yeah, they're like, use foil, put it in the bin.
I do that, but I hate. There's something about just like scraping that sort of stuff just makes me gag. I hate it. I hate it so much. Yeah, you enjoy just scraping a load of fat off into a bin. You get some sort of pleasure. You get kicks out of that. You sick fuck.
It's necessary.
To combat the fatbergs, Tim. Democracy. You're like, fucking hell no. Fat divers.
Fat divers. That's good. I like that. Make it happen, Xbox. Fat divers.
Yeah. Can't get hell divers? Make your own. Fat divers.
Hell yeah. All right, let's get out of there before we really lose our minds.
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, everyone. If you've listened this far, honestly, hats off to you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a joy. We'll be back next week, probably. Take care of yourselves. Wear some socks to bed, and then take them off about 10 minutes in. That's the good stuff.
Oh, just get your feet all clammy. Oh, that's awful advice. Don't listen to him. You're telling them to go to bed with their socks on. Their feet get all hot and sweaty, and then they take it off, and then
no. Hang on, that's such a leap. What do you mean? And then they get hot? Are your feet clammy all day when you're wearing socks?
If I went to bed with my socks on and 15 minutes later, my feet would be moist.
What's wrong with you? Why?
I don't know. I got active sweat glands in my feet, I guess. I didn't think this was a me problem.
I think this is a you problem, dude. I think you've just been exposed on the internet.
Damn. Right in the fucking outro as well. Shit, I could have lasted on. It's like another minute.
This is like a cliffhanger, man. That's crazy. I'm so confused. You got sweaty feet all day. Like if you go out,
but
just in bed.
Yeah, but bed's different because they're trapped under a duvet. Like, shit's hot, man. Suffocating.
Are you sleeping under a bear? Like, what's going on?
No, I'm not sleeping under a bear. I sleep with a bear.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no. Anyway.
All right, well, I'm not changing my advice. Take the socks off. So you don't get the pleasure of taking socks off and having cool feet in bed. That doesn't happen to you because they're like clammy.
No, I take my socks off before bed. I don't just let them stew under the duvet for 15 minutes and then take them off.
There's no stewing. Like, what is this? There's no stewing to be had.
It's fucking
in the stream, man.
Slow cooking.
In the fucking stream.
Slow cooking your feet. 24 hours. Bye, Ron.
Sock casserole.